my like voice chat bot, or also how I got it linked onto my website, how I like
Yeah,
prompted it.
yeah.
That's all that. Okay.
Hmm. I think it'd be good. I think it'd be useful. And we're recording it too, so people can see it. Perfect. Okay. So, welcome everyone. I'm looking forward to spending this early evening with you. What we'll be doing is talking about the rest of our schedule for the semester. And on Wednesday, you have due your project and your project of your first, basically, of your assignment. And you should be publishing that on your website. And what I will do on Wednesday, I'll call on groups to present their projects, giving us their overview of their projects, and we'll be giving them feedback. I'll be giving you feedback. On the 17th, Maya, what do we have? Do you know?
Um,
It's on this Monday, 17th.
check. An exam too.
Yeah, it's good that you remember, huh? It's good that you remember that. So let me go into this first. Let's see, is this J? This is J. And I'm going to go to what's due. And I'm going to turn off my edit mode so I see exactly what you see. So before class today on the 5th, you had a phone voice AI agent assignment. And you had information systems or the ERP assignment. And then this Wednesday, you have your final project part 3 due, along with business analytics project. And you have a couple of readings here as well. On November 17th, you can see in this case, Maya, you can see that we have exam 2 in person, same issues as we had before. And this is in, the exam review is in PowerPoint and documents. So let me go to PowerPoint and documents. And if I go to PowerPoints and documents, it talks about the exam arrived 10 minutes early. It's closed book, closed note, just like as before. If you have issued some extended time, just let me know and you will get as much extended time as that has been given to you. When you finish the exam, same idea, picture ID, your laptop with respondents, and it's going to be 2 parts, multiple choice and open-ended, and they'll be separate as they were before. And if I open this in a new tab, let me just review this of what this will be. So you can see here, I put in a number of articles here that I think will help you in your open-ended questions, and it can also help you in some of the multiple choice questions, though the multiple choice questions are coming from the Wiley book. You can see the open-ended question. The articles are on cloud computing, machine learning, what is artificial intelligence, generative AI, 5 AI technologies, AI caller, agentic AI versus generative AI, and from VAPI, a quick introduction. Chapter 4, I'm going to go over the chapters that will be on the exam 2 chapters that we covered last time will also be on the exam. So chapter 5, where we talked about data, will be in the exam. So many of you that have studied it, similar types of questions as before of the difficulties of managing data, data governance, of the idea that we have to put rules and regulations and policies and procedures on what data we store. And with data governance, Kristen, there's also something that we can think about it as AI governance. Why, what's the why would we want AI governance just along with data governance?
Because AI could like process, I guess, information faster. And it could also use like data governance, like process that like data into actual information.
Okay. Anastasia, why we need data governance? Anastasia, you know what data governance is, or you can look it up. Look it up, Anastasia, what data governance is. And read to me what data governance is.
Okay, I looked it up. It says data governance is the framework of policies, processes, and standards that ensure an organization's data is accurate, consistent, secure, and used properly.
Accurate, consistent, secure, and used properly. Did you hear that, Kristen? Data. So, Anastasia, do you think that's going to be important for AI as well?
Yeah, I think so.
For sure. And even more so because we never even know what's going to come out of AI, really, right? So one of the things you can put on your notes that AI governance is going to be like a subset of data governance. So guess what, Anastasia, if I think about it, there'll probably be a new role in the future, very near future, for people not only to take care of data governance, but what? AI governance. So there'll be a director of AI governance to decide what are the bots we're using, what are the prompts that we're using, can we assure that it's secure, right? Can we assure that it's accurate? If we're a bank, Anastasia, what happens? We can be saying those AI bots can be saying a lot of garbage too. Right? And guess what? It's on our website. So that's going to be important. The data hierarchy, right? Bits and bytes, the data file. This is going to be important. File systems versus database. Files, my data is siloed. Databases, it's going to be consolidated. In a database, what is it going to minimize? It's going to minimize redundancy, right? I need to know what it's going to maximize. You remember those questions, Anastasia, last time on minimizing and maximizing of database management systems and file systems. It'll be the same here. The database approach, primary versus secondary. Data warehouse, we know the data warehouse is historical. Data marts are a subset, right? Remember that? Chapter 4, types of security. Remember, we need to know what exposure, what's a threat, what's a vulnerability. I know I have unintentional threats, unintentional meaning that I wasn't planning to do it, but all of a sudden I had social engineering with someone, and then it was unintentional. I gave out my password because they told me that they were in charge of security, right? I have risk. What do I always want to do? When I have data, when it's digital, I always going to have risk, right? Life is a risk. What do I want to do? I want to manage that risk, and when I want to mitigate it. What does mitigation mean? In this case, Maya, what does mitigation mean? That I want to reduce it, right? I want to reduce the risk, and basically you need to know, so how can I reduce it? Sometimes I can say, I'll accept the risk. What does accepting the risk mean then? Dana, is accepting the risk could be, I'll accept the risk that somebody can be taking my PowerPoints. You got that, Dana? It's not a big deal for me. Let them take my PowerPoints. But I may want to basically for the university, if somebody then does ransomware, I want to transfer the risk. What does the transfer the risk mean for a university? Buy insurance. They have security insurance. Did you know that, Dana? That basically they get ransomware when somebody's asking for Bitcoins of, let's say, 100,000 in Bitcoin, right? That they may be able to say, hey, we'll have the insurance company deal with it. Controls, right? The physical communication, access, administrative controls, right? Users controls, least privilege. If I think about least privilege, right? Brooke, if I think about least privilege, do I have least privilege and you have least privilege, or only you have least privilege?
I would have least privilege because
have it?
you are a teacher, so you have more access to things.
But do I have least privilege? Let me correct you here.
Probably.
Exactly. Brooke, put this in your notes, and this was confusing for people last time. Least privilege means based on the role that I have, you have, the president of the university has, the provost of the university has, the dean of the university, everybody has least privilege. What does that mean, Brooke? That based on your role, you have just enough privilege to do your job. I don't want to give you any more. So what does that mean? I have least privilege that you're in my class, Brooke, right? So I should have, I need to know what you're doing in my class, but I have no business to do my job to know what you're doing in other classes. Do you understand that? So I have least privilege. I can see my own salary, but I can see the salary of those people that I'm supervising. But I cannot change, right, without going through a certain process, their salary, right? So Lily, I think she's the greatest, right? And they've agreed on a certain salary. I have least privilege. I don't have the rights to change Lily's hourly wage. I have to go through a process and get approval on that. Does that make sense, Brooke, now?
Yeah, I understand.
Right. So that needs to be, I want that to be strong for you that you can understand it. So these are the terms you have then: cloud computing, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So when I think about that, Cole, if I think about software as a service, I think, do you use any software as a service, Cole? Cole William, do you hear me? Do I have that? So Tate, software as a service means what? What software do you use every day? You wake up, Tate, in the morning, what software do you use? You pick up your phone?
I use Google.
You use Google. What part of Google? You search on Google?
I look up Blackboard usually.
You look up Blackboard. Are they all software as a service? Yes, of course. Anything that you need internet access to, which is almost all your work, is software as a service. So it can be public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. When I'm using Google Drive, when I'm using Tate, you've used Gmail, that's a public cloud. It does not mean it's insecure, right? Because I still need a password. So I still need to do that as a password. I still need to get it done versus a private cloud, a hybrid cloud. Chapter 14 talks about artificial intelligence, and also in artificial intelligence, we talked about machine learning before, supervised learning, unsupervised learning. We talked about credit cards that they use machine learning and they use supervised, putting all my good transactions together, putting all my fraudulent transactions together, and training under supervised training the machine to pick out what is the characteristic of what is a fraudulent transaction, what is a good transaction. Generative AI, we know that we have a response, we have a prompt, we have a response. The Turing test is basically to tell if it's a human or a machine behind the answers, natural language processing. We talked about enterprise resource planning. And the last chapter that will be due next week is on chapter 12, which is on business intelligence. And also on, which is important, on business analytics of descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive. Descriptive is the past, so descriptive statistics. So Daniel Yesin, do you hear me? Daniel, do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so have you ever taken a statistics course yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so you know statistics. We have, I have a grade book, right? You have your own grade book, right? But I have my grade book with all my students, right? And it has test 1, right? And then I'll have test 2 and all your assignments. You got that? So the question, Daniel, is that descriptive statistics will tell me about the past and will describe the data for me. So what will I be able to tell? I'll be able for the first test to tell me what? In the past, Daniel, what was the mean average? What was the highest score? What was the lowest score, right? That's in descriptive statistics. That's the past. You with me, Daniel?
Yeah.
Predictive would be, let's say, and this is all hypothetical, Daniel, you got a 98 on the first exam. Okay, that's hypothetical. And basically, in this case, predictive statistic, given all your data from behind, what I want, predictive we can think about is forecasting. So is that the past, the present, or the future, Daniel? Predictive.
It's the future.
It's a future, right? So it's I could predict what would you be great for your second exam. So let's say the second exam he got 98. Let's say the model said, oh, he should get 100 because now he knows what the first one was. Whatever the algorithm was is predictive. And prescriptive could mean then, well, what are we going to do about it? So maybe one of the prescriptions, just like you get a prescription for the future, is what are we going to do about it? Maybe, Daniel, that you've done so well that maybe we should have you as a teaching assistant in training. You got that? That could be like the prescriptive. So this is it. And then I have, these are the words, and then I have 8 sample open-ended files. What I'd like you to do sometimes, maybe this is just a point of my perception here, is some of these questions, if you prepare for some of these questions, can also help you with the multiple choice. So number 1 is traditional file systems approach in database management, right? Like we talked about, identify 2 major problems inherent with that, and define the data hierarchy, and explain the purpose of a primary key within a database. So we have that. The next one is talking about information security controls. Define 3 major types and give examples. The other one, we talked about cloud computing, explain the benefits, give 3 business usage examples, and how cloud computing is used. Define infrastructure as a service, platform as a service software, give at least 1 real example of each of these. Here it's, what is generative AI? We talked about generative AI. How does its purpose and output differ from traditional machine learning and agentic AI agents? Discuss at least 3 limitations. Number 6 is, what is an AI agent? Explain its fundamental operational, what are the benefits, the risk, what are subfields, and what is an AI caller? What 3 of the key features that we did? This is basically an example then, Kristen, of what? Of basically our VAPI assignment, right? What is an AI caller? which is really an AI agent. You know, how do AI callers work? What are the benefits and disadvantages? So you can see among these, I've given you readings. You can find out those in other parts. But so, for instance, in the AI caller, let me open this in a new tab. You can see, or what are AI callers here, right? Voice-based AI agent, hold conversations, responds without needing a human online. It uses speech recognition, right? Natural language processing and text to speech.
I don't know if it's just me, Professor, but I can't see your screen if you're sharing your screen.
Really?
I don't know if it's just me.
Can you see it, Kristen?
Yeah, I can see it.
That's weird. All right, let me try and troubleshoot it.
Yeah. Okay. You can see it, Kristen, right? What does it say right here, Kristen? Voice recognition.
Voice recognition and caller identification.
Yeah, good. Okay, and then this is interesting. It even does sentiment analysis. It's basically being able by the voice to see if somebody is angry, somebody's confused, the logic, predictive. You see this predictive in this case, Kristen, predictive meaning in the future, you know? And then you can do many languages. So you can think about it is how do they work? It goes speech to text, natural language processing, text to speech, the logic engine, the action, and then the benefits, right? A lot of benefits. What are the disadvantages you need to think about too? The disadvantages is basically could be wrong. It's representing me, right? The disadvantages, and maybe people want to speak to a human. So this is one of those that you can see among those. And then even if I wanted to answer that question, you can even see on the VAPI was what we were using as a developer platform for building voice AI agents. And it's the same kind of things. You can see how they work. Speech to text, a large language model, text to speech, two ways. We're going to just use assistants. So it's really no code. You don't have to worry about it. Their key capabilities, phone calls or web integration. You can call on an actual phone, or you can integrate it into your website. And here, customer support is using it, sales lead, appointment scheduling, just like we did before. And what else? So you can go through it. On Wednesday, I'll spend some more time going over it. I'd like you to look at it. So for instance, Anastasia, you can tell me what should I focus in on? What's not clear to you that you want me, or you can ask me questions of what's not clear. That makes sense? Anastasia.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. And you see my screen. And what I'd like to show you, which is really pretty neat, is if you look on Zoom links, web links, this was on how to use VAPI also. But this was last week on the Wall Street Journal. And this amazed me. So remember, not only do I have now, Anastasia, that I want you to have skilled, or that AI is going to take away my job that everybody's worried about. And in some places they will. The new threat is use AI or you're fired. So there's a company called Accenture, Anastasia. They're a big consulting firm. Have you ever heard of them, Anastasia?
I have not.
Okay. They're so big, they have 779,000 employees. And they trained about 70% of these people. And one of the problems, what they do, they're a consulting group, Anastasia, and they go out to usually Fortune 500 companies throughout the world and train them on technology. And what they found last year is that the Fortune 500 companies, Anastasia, were saying that they were quite disappointed because their folks didn't really know how to apply AI. So this article basically says not only you have to be on board with AI, but you need to be able to know how to use it to do what? To reduce my costs, increase my revenues, get closer to the customer, have more satisfied employees with AI. And what they're giving bonuses to if people in the organization can figure out ways in which the organization can benefit from AI. You got that, Anastasia? So it's kind of like the opposite in that case. Questions? The exam then is a week from today. Do you see that, Stephanie? So the exam, when the exam is, I want to make sure that everybody understands. The exam is a week from today. So your group work of part 3 is due this Wednesday. And let me just emphasize to you that AI is really good for quick and dirty getting out a website. Do you agree with me, David Solomon, that what AI is really, Wix is really good, or any of the other ones that you can, it can produce a website first draft really quickly. You agree with me? What the problem I find is it can give you what I call AI slop. Basically, give me words that are correct grammatically, but don't tell me enough of a story. You need to produce something that you can tell who is my user, who is my audience, what is the problems that you are trying to solve, and what are your solutions. And I guarantee you, David, what I'd like is you could even take that text and put it back into like ChatGPT or others and ask it again those questions to give you a more succinct way of presenting your information. Everybody with me? You understand that, David? So you could even use AI again. The whole issue of being a good user of AI is knowing how to prompt. So what I'd like to do, Lily, are you ready to present?
Yeah, sure.
I'd like Lily to present. She worked on the VAPI of that I want you not only in your individual assignment, but be able to use not only getting a phone number, but attaching that on your website and having what I like is having it voice generated, because it adds to just the traditional chatbot that's text-based. Even though you're in the assignment that you have, it says you should use text. I'd even say use the phone, because I think it's more dramatic. So Lily, you want to show that, and you can show how you do your prompts. And I was very
Sure.
impressed with what Lily had shown. So this is,
So yeah,
Go
this is my website. In the bottom right hand corner, I have the chat bot. Oh wait, let me make sure that I'm sharing my audio.
yeah, make sure you shared your audio.
Yeah, I might have forgot to do that. Hold on a second.
Yeah, before you share, that's
Oh no, it's
everybody.
always sharing sound. All right, okay, good. All right, so you just hit start. It'll like ask in the top right hand corner.
Hello, this is Alex from Elevate You. We
Oh,
help students
I
navigate
guess
Wall
it
Street
kept our
through technical.
old conversation. Maybe if I try and,
No, it's okay.
because I'd rather show the,
Okay,
there we go. So then it asks you
perfect,
to
yes.
allow your microphone. And then,
Hello, this is Alex from Elevate You. We help students navigate Wall Street through technical prep guides, finance info sessions, and individual interview prep sessions. Would you like to hear more about how AI can help you become technically sound for your next finance role?
yes, please. Can you give me some more information?
Great, I'm happy to chat. First, what year are you in and what got you interested in finance? Are you already preparing for interviews or just starting to explore your options?
So like as you can see, like it asks you a bunch of questions about yourself and like tries to tailor those like responses to you. How I did that is I had to create a new VAPI account because my old one from last semester wasn't wanting to work. And so
So
I
you just, so you just created a new, so you just made
yeah, it's like
a new
the
Gmail.
one that you already like, this would be like the same one that you created for the last assignment, the last VAPI assignment, except I did a system prompt, so it has like a bunch of information about my website. So any other like questions that other people would ask, it's like all the answers are within here. And I did not write like I wrote like a bunch of like notes on my website and what I like want it to like what I want to have in there, but then I had ChatGPT kind of write all of this out. And structure it so the AI chatbot can understand what I mean and the kind of like flow.
So you tell it
have.
the conversation flow, what it needs to discover. Basically, you're training then the agent.
Right. And then how I got the widget on is well, you could also click up here to get to the widget. And then I hit customize. And then I hit voice. And like I can also like change the background color. So see it's down here. So like let's just say like I don't know. I want it to be like white. Oh. Wait a minute. Oh no, it's the light. There we go. And I could change its like name. Where's the name? Oh yeah, so I had talked with Alex.
Okay. Or maybe say, talk with Alex, our voice agent.
Okay.
Alex.
You don't think it's a little long?
Yeah, that's long. Our agent, maybe.
Or
Alex,
talk with our agent Alex?
Alex, yeah. Just so you can see, right?
And then there's like I was getting a little bit confused because there's like no area over here to and also toggle this off. There's
Yeah,
like no
toggle
area
off the legal and consent, right?
Yeah. There's no area here to like save your work. So to get around that, I copied the code here and then I went to Wix settings, scroll all the way down to custom code. I deleted the old code that I had. I added in a new code. And then body ends, so it's just like in the bottom right hand corner. And then let me just like go back to my website. Oh, well, it'll
Yeah,
give it a
publish
minute.
it.
There we go. Now it's there.
Yeah, perfect. Isn't that great? And now you
Yeah,
have it.
just like copy and paste it from like the widget area.
Right.
Like, 'cause there's also like another area where you could copy and paste it here, and that just like that was giving me trouble. Like when
Okay.
I wanted to edit what the widget like looked like on my
But where
website.
did you add it? Where did you take it from instead of there?
Like, I just hit customize and
Customize, okay.
then
And
made
then
it
make sure,
chat
and
or
then,
voice.
and chat, but make it voice. In the instructions, it said do chat. I like the voice because it makes it dramatic. And also, it also types what you've said too. So you can copy and paste what you had.
And it seems like it kind of saves what you said as well, like if you're staying
Right.
on the website and then you have
Yeah.
another question.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And this is an agent. This is an AI agent. The difference is this is a voice agent that you can appear.
and it shows at the bottom left-hand corner all the different credits that I'm using. I
Yeah.
just started using it today. I'm already down
Right, right.
40.
Yeah. So it's good for a demo
Yeah,
purposes. You don't
right.
want to be using it all the time, but it's good enough for the demo purposes. You get a phone number free. So somebody, and when you're showing it, when you be going in the class and you're presenting it, you want to make sure that your phone number works. So take someone that has your phone, and you can have someone else, and then make sure that your chat with whoever or talk to our agent also works. Perfect. And it's great. Lily is your TA for this class. And it's excellent so much that I'm having her come to my other class because they were having some problems to show off her work. And sometimes there are little things, that it's beyond our control. They're having, I think last week they had some issues because of so many, I don't think all my students did it at the last moment. So I think they weren't even used to having their server, right? It's their server and their cloud take on all that work, even though we weren't using it intensely. So I think it had some, that's my guess here. It may have had some work that maybe one or two people are doing, and all of a sudden, 80 people are banging away at the server. Any questions about that? So, Kristen, any questions? Anastasia, that we have? So see if you can see my screen. So this was on this one. We can also think about it. Let's see. Anastasia, can you see my screen now, Lily? Or did it work or no?
Yeah, for some reason it's adding it onto like a different window on Zoom.
Okay.
Like, because I
Crazy.
have a double monitor situation
Oh,
going on,
okay.
so
Okay. So basically, this is the last chapter of the book where it talks about decision support. And this chapter, you can think about this chapter is what's going to be added onto this chapter is for decision making is AI. So remember I talked about descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. And let me just show you in the framework. Let me do this one from the current slide here. When you look at the process and phases in decision making, you're asking, what is the problem? What are my options? And pick an option and decide how to implement it. AI really can help us with all of these. But what I'm saying is the human will decide now, even to decide what in the organization am I going to start with for my problem. And I may have then even what is the problem is, where can I use AI in my organization? And I may take what I call my low-hanging fruit in what will be the easiest part to use the AI and pick the options that will being done with it. So here it needs why managers need AI IT support. What I'm saying is we'll need AI governance to see what the AI is using. For instance, all that operational control, I think AI can take over. The semi-structured, AI can take over. The unstructured, that's in a point where it will need being trained. Negotiations, recruiting. Notice all of this is being partly done by AI even now. Video, computer vision will improve. So you can think about transforming it, that business analytical process. This is the one figure, if you're going to read anything in this chapter that's going to be important, is this figure right here. These are from my left-hand side. You see this from my left-hand side. I'm having my business problem. And then what do I have to do under data management? What do I have to do? That data governance is I have to take my data, whether it's external data, internal data, my big data, like from Wall Street, from my NASDAQ. And then what do I have to do? I have to clean my data. This stands for extraction, transformation, and load. But what it is, I have to clean it. Then what do I do? Historically, I have to put it in my data warehouse. And this is what I was talking before. I have descriptive statistics, descriptive analytics that is in the past. What has happened? These are statistical procedures that tell me about my data that has happened in the past. I can do pivot tables, I can do data mining, and then I can present it to look nice. This is where AI can work really nicely. Put it in a nice dashboard, put it some figures, put it in a graph, put it in a nice slideshow. Predictive is what? What could happen? And what could happen, we're not 100% sure. This is why who succeeds and who doesn't, everyone doesn't, no one knows the future, but where you're getting high returns is if you're making educated, in a way, educated guesses. So in this, you have statistical procedures that will forecast the future. Does it have error? Yes. What do we want to do is we want to reduce the error. Once we have this done, now we want to do prescriptive analytics to tell us what should we do. And in this, you can have optimization, simulation, decision trees, and then you have actionable business decisions or recommended actions. And where the human is really going to be important is they have to defend this. So if I were going to ask you one part to be able to do, to review for this chapter, is this figure right here. And the underlining technologies is what we talked about, those GPUs, powerful GPUs and MPUs, high volume storage, increasingly faster broadband internet, neural networks, machine learning, deep learning. This is behind this process. That's the last chapter. So Zara, did you get that? Of descriptive past, predictive the future, errors, and then prescriptive. It's like a prescription. What am I going to do? What should I do now? Should I buy the stock? Should I sell the stock? Should I just stay out of the market? That's prescriptive. And it says, go ahead and buy. Right? These are like on a lot of the firms are telling me that this firm says it's on hold, or it's a buy signal, or it's a sell signal. or we should short the stuff. And in terms of those classes, sometimes what we do then we see what happens, Zara, and then we go back and we see where we made mistakes. Oh, every time it's telling us to buy all the time. And this is what are the conditions when we were wrong? Let's evaluate now what are the conditions. So what do we want to do is we want to increase our accuracy. We want to decrease our errors. And what we want to do from one state, we want to train the machine to be more accurate. How do we have to do it? Is we have to look at the actual data again. It was predicting, and guess what? We were right 80% of the time, but we were 20%. That's where we lost the most. So there's some way in which you have to gear to analyze it again. So on Wednesday, what I'd like to do is twofold. Is one, get from you questions that are not clear for the exam. And number two is to review your work. And then on Monday, we will take the exam, plus I will give you the final assignment of how you need to prepare for your final project. What you need to do, you'll be presenting, how you're presenting, and what are all the specifics. Okay? And hopefully by that time, on the 1st, by December 1st, what I'd like to do is have most of the group say, hey, that I would be able to say, hey, I don't have any comments. I think this is just great. Go for it and relax. And otherwise, if there are little tweaks that you need to make, that I'm able to give you that feedback and say, hey, why should I get an 85 when I could have gotten a 95 or 100, right? And that's it. All right. So Lily, first of all, thank you so much. I thought it was great. It worked out beautiful. And if anybody wants any more specifications on that, we got an expert here. It really looked great. And the voice was good too. And it was a pleasant voice. You could understand it. And I liked the way in which you get the text. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Stay with me if you have extra questions.